What's going on YouTube? Reezon is back once again, and I'm making a classic video game review on a title for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Now this was a title that I enjoyed quite a bit back in the day when I was younger, and I actually played through most of it the other day and still enjoy it, still has that magic, man, and that's none other than Jurassic Park on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Heck of a game. Uh, First of all, one of the things I want you to realize about the game is that it's one of those games that has different gaming perspectives or different gameplay perspectives. What I mean by that is the game starts off as an overhead action shooter, and there's also parts where you walk into buildings and it switches to a first-person pseudo 3D perspective. So it's part first-person shooter, part over-the-head action shooter. So that's one of the bonuses in this game. Things never get too stale because it switches up quite frequently. Another thing is, I mean, it's a movie licensed game, and that group of games has a bad stigma, has a bad rap, but this is one of the good ones. It's a decent, it's actually a good movie licensed title. It picks up, it's basically it takes up right after the motion picture Jurassic Park. You play the role of Alan Grant, Dr. Alan Grant, and you start off right in front of the gates of Jurassic Park. Now, you can go in the park or out of the park because, as you know, if you watch the movie or if you're a fan of the franchise, Jurassic Park is on an island called Isla Nublar, but it does not take up the entire island. The park is within the island, but you can actually in this game roam the island itself or the park. Um, Many dinosaurs make an appearance in this game: Velociraptors, Dilophosaurus, Pachycephalosauruses, Compies, Gallimimuses. You got giant, prehistoric dragonflies. Just a bunch of different enemies. So there's a couple of, there's a nice number of dinosaurs. There's a nice diverse variety of creatures that make an appearance in the game, and they're all represented, pretty faithfully. The graphics in this game they're decent. They're not the best, but they're not bad either. I will say that they're nothing compared to the graphics for Jurassic Park on the Sega Genesis, whereas Sega Genesis Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park Rampage Edition were going for more of a realistic look. Super Nintendo's Jurassic Park was going more for a cartoony look, but that should surprise nobody because Nintendo's notorious for doing that. Just because they go for the cartoony look doesn't mean that it's not good. It's very good. It's very stylized. It just doesn't hold up when compared in this particular case to the Sega Genesis. But it's still a nice looking game. Very colorful, very crisp. The graphics are crisp. The only place where the graphics aren't that great, where they take a bump, is where you walk into a building and it switches to the first person through the night vision goggles perspective. The night vision goggles they used in the movie. When it switches to that perspective, the graphics take a bump. They get a lot more pixelated. When you're moving around, it kind of strobes, which is kind of uncomfortable. But I cannot really knock them for that because at least they were trying something that wasn't tried very much on a 16-bit cart, and that was an attempt to give you a first-person 3D perspective. And it works. It does get you all up, all up close and personal because the raptors and the Dilophosaurus and all that just come right at your grill. But the graphics do take a bump there. Um, the objective of the game is to collect all the dinosaur eggs. I think there's about 18 or 20 of them, and they're scattered throughout the park and the islands. It's not as easy as it sounds because as you go collecting them, you'll notice that you got to pull off different objectives, such as turning the generators on, turning the power back on. Certain objectives are behind locked off areas for which you need to find key cards. So you're collecting eggs, you're collecting key cards. The key cards are scattered throughout the entire island, all over the place. You need Ellie Sattler's key card. You need Dennis Nedry's key card, Gennaro's key card, Robert Muldoon, John Hammond, Ian Malcolm, all the main characters. You need their key cards to get to certain locations where there are other eggs and where there are other things that you need. So there's a lot of backtracking, up and down the island, which is reminiscent of Metroid. So that's a good part of the gameplay. And that's the gameplay. That's the plot of the game. Like I said, the graphics are decent. They're not bad. They're not good. I mean, they're not great. They're not bad. They're good. They're decent graphics, crisp, clear, colorful. The controls are spot on as always. Nintendo titles have very good controls. You got the D-pad to move around. The select buttons toggles you between weapons. You have your standard of stun gun. But if you collect a secondary weapon like rocket launchers or tranquilizer darts, you use the select button to switch off between the stun gun and those weapons. You also collect different explosives, such as you know, I'm sorry, gas grenades, bola snares, and those are used with the Y button. The X button is used to pick up these power-ups. You'll see them laying on the ground, scattered throughout the game. Walking over them will not get them for you. You need to walk over them, press X so that he can crouch down and grab them. The A button is your jump button, and the B button is your shoot button. R and L don't really do anything. I mean, the controls are spot on, man. They're responsive, they're tight, they work to a T. Um, the gameplay, like I said, it's fun, man. I mean, it's like I said, it's part over the head action shooter and part first person shooter. So there's a lot of action to be had. Not many dull moments in the game. As you be walking through the jungles, raptors will just come out of the foliage, and just start attacking you, which is great. Um, and fun factor, it's a fun game to play if you have the patience, because it is a long endeavor. This isn't a Final Fantasy game or anything like that, but it's not, a stroll through the park either. Pardon the pun. It's a nice long game because there's so much backtracking and the gameplay area is huge. So if you have the patience, it's a fun game to play. And if you're a Jurassic Park fan, it's gonna be fun. Um, like I said, a diverse cast of characters and enemies and creatures make an appearance in the game. Locations from the movie make appearances, such as the visitor center, the utility sheds, the raptor pen, and you go in and visit all those. Um, couple of secrets locked away in areas that you need night vision goggles to access. So there's a lot of replay value to the game also. Um, there's not much more I can say, man. It's a good movie licensed game. There's not many of them out there throughout the history of gaming. This is certainly one of them. If you want a number rating, I'd give this a 7.5 out of 10. It's not the greatest, but it's far from the worst. It's fun to play. I go back to it every once in a while. Oh, and the music, the sound is great. The sound is very good in this game. The dinosaurs growls and roars, and the music is catchy, man. The music is catchy, and it switches up. It switches up, depending on what area you're in. If you're walking through the general, forest and jungles of the park, you hear like an African like drum, tum, 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 like a real jungle type beat. Whereas when you get near the canyons, the music will fade out and then switch to another track, and it's more like this pop, you know, bouncy track. It switches it up real nice. And the music is very eerie and very atmospheric when you get into the first person levels. Walking through the utility sheds and the visitor center and stuff like that. So there's some also diverse weapons. You have your tranquilizer darts, your rocket launcher, your rockets, your grenades, your gas grenades, bola snares, your stun gun, um, and there's plenty of health items scattered throughout the park. So you could always find some health. Uh, oh, and the T-Rex makes a couple of appearances also, for those of you wondering. So yeah, man, it's a very complete movie title. Does the film justice? Good 16-bit title, man. Jurassic Park on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Like I said, 7.5 out of 10. Hopefully, this entire video is viewable because YouTube has been screwing up everybody's videos lately. But we'll see, man. God bless y'all. Stay gaming.